Good morning, everyone. How are you today? Now, today we'll be talking about the topic deforestation. Do you know what deforestation is? Yes? Daisy?
Cutting down of trees and burning.
Okay, cutting down of trees and burning. So let's take a while and let's go through the cell. Let's look at this picture. What can you see in this picture? Yes, Kyle?
Trees being destroyed.
Trees being destroyed. Krista, what do you see?
Lots of trees like in the forest.
Okay, a lot of trees destroying the forest. Yes, Erwin?
The remnants of what used to be trees.
Okay, the remnants of what used to be trees. Very good. And then we go to Stephen.
Slash and burn.
Slash and burn. And all of your answers are correct because they're based on the forest. And there's much you can see in this picture. But reality, this is a cause of deforestation. Deforestation refers to the cutting, clearing, or removal of rainforest or related ecosystem in less diverse ecosystems such as pasture, cropland, or plantations. And you find out that most of our country at the present moment is going through deforestation, especially some of our rainforests at the present moment are going through this era. The map we have here refers to deforestation. And why do we have this map up? It tells us about sedimentation. Sedimentation occurs when we cut down our trees and the rain doesn't have somewhere for it to absorb that water. As Miss mentioned in one of her lessons you had previously, when it rains, the water falls on the leaf and it runs down into the earth. But if we're cutting down all those trees, they don't have nowhere to absorb that water and it hits the soil and it runs into what we call runoff, runs into our reefs. And due to all of those type of sedimentation in our environment, we find that we have a reef at risk. So if you guys were looking at the news presently, you see that they have the symposium of coral reef. We need to protect our reef because at the present moment, we're finding that our environment has a risk of, the reef has a risk due to deforestation and it's caused by sedimentation in our area. We could also say deforestation is the killing of the earth's forests on a massive scale, often resulting in damage to the quality of the land. And our land is very important at the present moment for us to have sustained our life and our environment we live in. Let's turn to our activity book on page 50. Alright, instruction says, write the cause and three effects of deforestation in Belize. And let's, in the circle, list who are responsible for deforestation and state ways we can save the pine trees. Before we begin, let's do this activity together. So let's look at where it says, pull in your name, please, and the date. In your groups that you're presently in, you can discuss the cause. I'll give you 2 minutes to write in the cause, but discuss the cause. Now let's move on to the effects. Discuss the effects with your group and then place in your choice, please. So I see some of you going straight ahead. Let's discuss so you could answer when I call on one of the persons of the group. good. Now let's move on to what can we do to save our pine trees? What can we do to save our pine trees? On the list, the last question that we have to answer, who are responsible for deforestation? Who are responsible? And just don't give me, I just say we are. Specific. Please be specific. Let's give you a clue for that. The whole thing that we're doing right now, that's giving you a clue. We're talking about sea level rise, we talk about warming climate, we're talking about pine forests. Think about it. That's one of our clue. That's one of your clue I'm giving here for who are responsible. By the raising of hand, let me know you're ready, so I can see if we can commence and proceed, please. Just raise your hand so I know which group is still ready. All of us are ready? Yes? No? I see some people still writing. All right then. Thank you. Place your pens down. Let's discuss this activity. Put your pens down. All right. You all will have a time to share what you have on your paper. So each group will have someone who will need to respond to the question that I'm giving you right now. So let's start. Who are responsible for deforestation? Which group would like to go first? Yes, go Orange.
We the human race.
We the human race, okay. We move on to other group. Remember, each group needs to give me a response. So,
Human activities.
yes, very good. Human activities. Next, we're going right around.
Loggers and construction builders.
Okay, very good. So still human activity. Come to the front. We need one of you. Come on, quickly.
Human.
Humans, very good. To the front here, one of you guys. Thank you,
Climate
Daisy.
change.
Climate change. That was what I was looking for. Very good. Let's give it a round of applause. That's what I was looking for. It's two answers, human and climate change. Yes, climate change have a big part in deforestation. Now the effects. Who would like to share some of the effects? Let's start again at the front and we go right around. Effects.
Loss of habitats for
Loss of habitats. Very good. Yes, that's one of the effects we have from deforestation. We move to the next group.
Mountain pine beetle.
Mountain pine beetle affecting our pine trees. Very good. Let's go on. I like how you guys are taking turn answering. Very good. Keep it up.
Animals losing their homes.
Animals in their home, just like the front said habitat. Very good. This side.
Erosion, more carbon and less oxygen.
So we have more carbon and less oxygen if we're cutting down the trees. Very good. Next.
Balance.
Atmosphere imbalance. And later on into the lesson you learn what are some of the effects of deforestation as we go along. But very good. Now we go on to the cause. We have the cause. Let's start again here and we go right around again.
Population.
All right. Next.
Climate change.
Good. Climate change.
For cities.
Fossil fluid.
Infrastructure.
Infrastructure. Here. Here we go. Luxury demands. And I will give you a little clap because I love that how we went around and each one of you decided to take a turn to give a response. And very good. I see you guys are into this lesson. I love that you're responding properly. Now let's move on so we continue with it. In Belize, deforestation is a result of logging operations and it's a very big issue in our country. As the world demand for wood and paper, we find that most of the loggers are doing illegal acts. And that means that they have to cut down roads, they have to build roads and cut down trees to reach remote areas. Forests are also cut as a result of growing urban sprawls. So we find that in Belize we have this where we have people coming from Guatemala cutting down our trees and logging and so forth. We do, yes, do cut logs here in Belize, but we have a lot of company who just comes in and cut our forests. So deforestation in Belize is a big cause and result at the present moment. Cause and effects of deforestation. Fuel. Half of all the trees cut down in the world are used for fuel. Burning wood is common in developing countries where there are often no readily available alternatives. Most of the trees are not replaced, which is a problem. So if we keep on cutting down all our trees and so forth and don't go back and replant, then what will happen? What we have to cut in the future? What will your future children have for them to use? Wood and paper products. The use of wood and paper mainly in countries is a huge factor driving deforestation all over the world. Hardwoods like pine wood are sought after for furniture and are consequently very valuable. In every square kilometer of a forest, there are probably only half a dozen pine trees, yet the whole area is often cut down. And we're finding right now in most of our forests is that they will come, okay, I found this tree. Instead of cutting that tree down, they cut the whole area and leave the woods there to rot. So that's the problem we're finding right now with people who comes in to harvest wood. It also says that yet the whole area is often cut down for those few trees with other trees left to rot, even if they are useful for something else. So maybe they were in the forest and they find a mahogany tree and there's a sericotta nearby. They will still cut down the sericotta and leave it there and just took the mahogany tree, while the sericotta can still be used for furniture, and they don't do that, so it leaves there as a waste. Deforestation for cattle grazing. This is another thing that we find down either north and south that we have problem with. And this is where it's an area of forest that are then grown and used for grazing cattle. As soon as the cattle are a certain age, each area of forest have to be cleared to support several hundred cattle. If you notice in Belize, we have areas that we go to and we visit the cattle area. They have to clear on the trees because the cattle need the lower grass to eat and so forth. And it's a lot of land you need to do so the cattle can grow. And the grazing land or ranches are very expensive and so forth. So when we do this, the cattle eat off the nutrients off the soil, and then you need to go another area. So we're saying after a few years, all you should have been from a poor soil, and the land is useless to other areas of the forest have to be cleared. To regenerate the soil is possible, but it takes a long time to do so. For example, say you're going to use 10 acres of land to rear your cattle. Maybe it will last maybe for 2 years or 3 years. You cannot use that land for anything else more. You might have to go back and use fertilization to try to maybe put corn on that cattle land. So the land is kind of unuseful at that moment when you have those cattle rearing, and that's one cause of deforestation. Farmland. It's largely the forests are cleared for farmland all over the world. In most Caribbean countries, there are two main types of farming: slash and burn and subsistence farming, and we do both of those in this era. For slash and burn, we need to cut down many trees. As you see in the picture there, you're burning a whole area to get it prepared for a farming land. Slash and burn is areas of the forest are cleared to grow crops for a couple of years, then left for a few years so the forest could recover, then the process starts again. Slash and burn is the most sustainable of the farming methods, but only if the price is low. Because as soon as you get more people in the area, there is less land available for each person. The slash and burn is what we use mostly if we live in the villages to plant our crop for ourselves. We use it a lot. Or people who will do crops for cane fields and so forth, use slash and burn to get the land prepared. But over time, you keep on doing that, you cause air pollution. Also, you have poor soil to use. Subsistence farming. We know this one is for a home where you plant our little corn or tomatoes or super use out in our backyard. It's a small area of land that have been cleared or farmed. The produce is used to feed the family and provide a small surplus to buy other goods. The problem with this method is that the soil is quickly exhausted of its few nutrients and they are not replaced. This means that the farmer have to rely increasingly on fertilizing before eventually being forced to move. You find that maybe this year you got beautiful corns, maybe 2, 3 years, 4 years you have beautiful corns, and the next year you come up you get bad crop. It's because the soil is weakened. And farming also, you need to take down trees because you need a cleared area, service area to plant your farming for your table or to sell at the market. Clearing cut. Generally means the forest must be replaced by planting monoculture. A plantation of one species of trees are currently viable species. A loss of genetic diversity is likely. Plantation can also lead to a problem with dense brush and the temptation to apply pesticides. Climate change. Look at this picture. What do you see? Raise your hand. Yes, Steven? You see a little creek? Okay. And you see the sunshine sneaking through? Alright. So this is a wonderful, healthy forest, doesn't it? Does it look healthy to you? Yes, ma'am. And that's what we want to keep on having in our country, a healthy forest. And we don't want deforestation to be the cause of having this healthy forest. That's what we want to look every day for our grandchildren, for the future, right? Climate change is a serious threat to the world's forests. This silent killer is other changing climate. Recently, due to population, the Earth's climate has been warming up. This happens when an excess of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases like methane, nitrous oxygen, and chlorofluorocarbons are released into the atmosphere. So when we use our sprays and so forth and we're burning, that's what's happening to our forest. And we want to have a beautiful forest that we saw just now. We want to keep it having that sunshine coming through. We want to see that water there. So we need to see how we can deal with this situation of too much carbon dioxide releasing into our atmosphere and the chlorofluorocarbon. Let's go to assignment number 2. In your assigned groups that you're in right now of 3s or 4s, name 2 things you can do as global citizens to decrease deforestation. Each group chooses a speaker to present their finding. This is where you're going to use your typing sheet you have at the front, there in front of you, and you will write your response there. Please remember to choose a person who will speak about naming 2 things you can do as global citizens to decrease deforestation. I'll be coming around to each group.
Why we have so much paper and only one?
I see that you guys, if you guys were the ones to go into your community to help with deforestation, I would be so proud because you guys have so many good responses. That's so good. So let's start with the group at the front. Let's see what they came up with. I read the instruction again. Are we ready? Let's get ready. In your assigned group, name 2 things you can do as global citizens to decrease deforestation. We have our speakers ready for each group. Are we ready?
We recycle and plant more trees.
Recycle and plant more trees. Now, let's see how many people had that up in their group. Raise their hand. Most of the group had that. Recycle. How much of you had recycle? Good. But, okay, we say recycle. What do you think we can recycle? You have any item we can name? Anybody would like to help them? Paper. What else can we recycle other than paper? Bottles. Cardboards or paper. Okay. Good. Let's move on to the other group.
More planting trees.
Planting trees.
Less burning.
Less burning. Very good. So less slash and burn we're going to have so we can have better substance and farming. Very good. Next, move on.
All the cutting down of logwoods
Control cutting of the logwoods.
and reforestation practices should be put into place.
So better reforestation laws should be put into place. And we need that. We need that. We have these laws, but we need to have people who will follow these laws. Very good. We come around this side.
For every tree being cut, you should plant another one to replace it. And the next one, recycle paper for less cutting down of trees.
Very good. We need to start planting back our trees that we're cutting down. You cannot expect to get a beautiful tree if you don't replant. Reforestation, that's the key out there. Recycling, that's what we're looking for. We come on to this side, Steven.
Place more protected areas.
Okay.
2. Every logger should be certified. Only certain size of trees should be cut down.
I love that. You hear what he said? We should have certain trees to be cut down. And now we do have those laws, as I said before, but we need to have people who are able to be vigilant and be able to enforce these laws. And I like how you said it, loggers, because sometimes we have our own neighbor going into the forest and cutting down to build a fence, right? And they will cut down all the trees and not use all of the trees to build this fence. So having you to choose the correct size of tree and following the law. So let's see what we can find on our cause we can do for ourselves. Right? How can we all help? And you see it's a healthy little tree in this person's hand. Reforestation. Go back and plant. As when we cut down, we plant back into our community, into our surroundings and so forth. And you can start right in your yard. An orange tree, a lime tree, right? It provides us oxygen, right? You need carbon release, oxygen for us. It helps us, a plant. Yes? We can deal with our light by turn off the light when you are not in a room and use more energy efficient bulbs. How much of you know about energy efficient bulbs? Yes, you have seen it around. These are those white ones and it's marked on the product. So you can use those for your house to help you along and so forth. While energy efficient bulbs are expensive, they do last longer. I have one I bought, has 5 years on it. So I'm going to see if it will last me 5 years when I put it in. But I like it because the light is more bright, it's efficient, and it doesn't burn too much watt. Not only will it save money, but reduce the amount of electricity that needs to be generated, so less fuel, fossil fuel will be burned. So it's good to have that type of bulb in your house because then nowadays that light bill is very high, don't you think? You guys having your computer on, your music and so forth, you need to help mommy and daddy to try to get some way to cut that cost, right? So using that light in your home would help you a whole lot. And look like we have, if you look up, we think we have some of those here too that you're using as energy, because you can get fluorescent lamps that have energy efficient bulbs. Transportation. How much of us walk to school? Okay. And how much of us have bicycle that we come here with on bicycle? Well, it's good. Use public transport, such as the bus. I know most of you use the bus. How much of us use the bus here? Okay, good. And I know majority use the bus to reach the school. We can walk or cycle if possible. It is said that the bicycle is the most efficient form of transport known to man. How much of us in here can ride a bike? Very good, and that keeps you physically fit. So keep on riding your bikes. It's a practice carpooling. Most of us don't know about carpooling here in Belize because most of us will find our own way to reach the school. But if you're in the States, most people who come from a certain community say, okay, I will maybe Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So carpooling is where we move from one area to the next or to where destination is. And most people who are in the work field or in the United States do. So I don't see much people doing here in Belize the carpooling. But by practicing carpooling, it reduces CO2, which is carbon dioxide emissions. So that will help us to know how to carpool. But as I said before, keep on walking, keep on using your bicycle. It's one way that we can help with the deforestation. Paper. As you look around, you see every week we print stuff, we do all kind of stuff like that with paper. Try to buy paper or wood products that are certified by the Forestry Commission as being from sustainable manageable woodland. Avoid excess printing of documents from the computer. Print non-presentation documents on the draft ink setting. The possible print on both sides of sheet of paper, thus saving both paper and money. We recycle a lot. We should recycle. We can use the paper also for mulching. We recycle the paper and use the paper for mulching, and it helps along. What mulching is for, it's like when you are going to do agriculture, instead of using the stool from the cow, you can use also the paper by recycling them. That means you get a machine, you push it through there, or you can just take a scissors and cut it up, and that will help you along also for recycling. So one way we can recycle, and yes, recycle as much as possible. As you noticed when you did the experiment about 2 weeks ago, we made out of the water bottle, we made a funnel and a measuring cup. Do you guys remember that? We were showing some form of recycling. That's why in this class, you know, each teacher tried to use something back as recycle. This is not just limited to paper, but can include glass. And there's an area of my school named St. John's SJC. They take the glass bottle and turn it into art. So they take all the glass, like you know you have the Coca-Cola, the Sprite bottle, they will get it crushed up, and they take it to make arts out of the glass. Even the plastic bottle we use for arts also. Metals. People are taking metals now to turn into art. So you guys need to know how it's being recycled. Even people are selling metals to their old trucks and so forth. They take it to an institution, they count it up and makes cans. Some of the cans that you have for maybe your condensed milk and so are recycled metal. A number of other items can be recycled. Many council run recycle collection service, and we have many of our recycling areas in Boyne, and Boyne recycle their bottles also for us. They have a recycling company that you can go. They also have a paper company that you can take your papers to, and they give you $2 a pound. It depends about how many you have. You can get $2 and more for the paper. We even have bottles that we can use. Encourage people you know to do as much as they can about recycling. You need to start recycle. It's a must. It's a need. I know most high schools have a recycling that you did. I think Compre had one that they did. Anybody was in that program? Any of you guys did? Yes. Any of you like to talk about it first? Tell us an idea what you guys did. I know that Compre did one.
Our class had to do different signs that we placed on each garbage bin.
Okay.
Each either non-biodegradable, biodegradable, or the
recyclables.
And we had to spray paint the drums, so that the people could know which drums are for each of those.
Very good. The negative effects of deforestation. Source of food. If we keep on cutting, clearing land for subsistence farming or doing a slash and burn, the soil gets weakened. Habitat. You find that new areas are being built for housing, infrastructure, and animals have nowhere to go. So they start dying or they start living in your house. Ecosystem altered. Source of medicine and lumber industry lost. Because then if you say, for example, a person just know to harvest pine or mahogany and there's no more, then I don't have a job. Okay? Indigenous people suffer. We have indigenous people who eat from the land. And if we're cutting down from the land, the land is where they go and hunt for their deers, their iguanas, you know, their tapir, etc. And we're cutting down the trees. How are they able to survive? Displacement, shelter and food, and loss of livelihood. So these are the effects of deforestation. So we need to understand that recycling, walking an extra walk to school, taking off that light, trying to recycle, reforestation. These are things that could help us evaluate from deforestation. We don't want a negative effect. You want the positive effect. You said life is simple but not easy in the tropics. What do you think about that saying? You know what they say when they say tropics? So you know what it means? Yes, good. So, yes, Stephen?
Means we have it good, but the forests don't have it, the tropics don't have it well because the plants are dying.
Okay, plants are dying, they're being cut down. So yes, we have a fine life because we say, oh, we're sitting on a nice fine chair. I have my nice bed to lie down in. I have my come and stick out my clothes. But do we ever think, sit down and think, okay, how was this tree cut down in a proper way? Was this person who did it follow the laws? Do you ever consider that? None of us don't. We move into a new housing area. We say, oh, this area is so beautiful, but we didn't consider how many trees they cut down for me to have this house at this housing area. So life is simple for us, but not easy in the tropics because every day our forest is being destroyed. So who would like to tell us what we have learned so far about deforestation? What would be one good effect about deforestation? We go around, one person, and from there we conclude. One item we like to talk about deforestation that you have learned today about deforestation. Anybody can go first. One thing you have learned about deforestation. Yes, Erwin, tell us.
Well, I learned not to take things for granted because even though we're enjoying everything that we have now, we never really look at the effects it is causing in the long run.
Okay, they look at the effects it is causing in the long run. Very good. Yes, it's true. We just say, okay, we have a bed, so what? We don't worry about how much trees we're cutting down. We're living in a fine area, so what? But now it being told us what effects it have on us, then we're knowing, okay, something needs to be done. People need to get serious about this. Yes, Kyle?
Climate change plays a major role in deforestation.
Yes, climate change plays a major role in deforestation. That's why we need to plant more. Anybody else? Yes, Edwin.
I learned that we need to be more conscious about the things we do and how we treat our forests.
Okay,
we need to replant our trees so further in the future, those trees that have been cut down and plant again, we actually have trees that we can cut down again and plant trees again. So practically, if everything goes as planned, then we won't run out of trees.
Okay, so you're saying in a whole nutshell is to we plant, reforestation, keep on planting. As we cut down, please do some type of understanding that we need. See how healthy the plant look in that picture? It's so healthy, lively. That's what we want. So that's what we are working forward to. We relate to climate change and start working on having a healthy forest. Thank you so much.